One day, when I was in college, I was walking across campus with a friend who was a philosophy major. And out of the blue, he turned to me and said, "I've come to the conclusion that there isn't a single problem in the world that can't be solved by throwing money at it." And I looked at him and I said, "Don't be ridiculous. You know that's not true." And he said, "Think about it. Name one single problem that money won't solve." And so we went at it. And I proceeded to name problems that I didn't think money could solve, and he responded by explaining how indeed money could solve them. And I forget now what the examples we used were, but we never did come to an agreement. And we couldn't budge each other from our respective positions. And then at coffee hour, I'll explain to you another funny anecdote about English class when we really went at it. Anyway. And now, umpty-ump years later, I still think about that conversation, and I'm not so sure my friend was wrong. At the time, we were both impecunious students. Neither one of us had 2 nickels to rub together. And maybe he was feeling particularly pinched on the day he made his pronouncement, and I was pretty pinched myself. But I never doubted that there were more powerful forces than money at work in the world. I'm still close with my friend, and over the years he's taught me a lot of things about things that we both care about. And in fact, I mentioned his youthful hypothesis that there's no problem in the world money can't solve to a client of mine just recently. And my client turned a very spry 95 years old in September. I've been working with him for around 10 years, and he's become a true friend. And he is very, 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 very wealthy. He insists that he's not a billionaire, but my sense is that he's pretty close to it. Anyway, when I told him of my friend's notion about money, my client said, if only that were true, meaning that he's got plenty of money, and if it were true, he wouldn't have any problems because he has enough money to throw them all, make them disappear. I believe in God, as I'm pretty sure everyone in this building does. And I know that God, and not money, is almighty and omnipotent. But I am coming around to the idea all these years later that money can do a lot more than we religious people sometimes give it credit for. For example, they say that money can't buy love. You can't pay someone to love you. But if we think hard enough, I bet we can come up with instances in which people marry for money and then grow to love the partners that they had previously thought of only as a cash machine. It's also a well-known fact that people with money generally have better health than people who don't have money. So you can't buy your way out of death, but you can buy your way to better health while you're here on earth. And what about forgiveness? You can't pay someone to forgive you, but if you have money, you can pay a therapist to talk through the problem with you, and maybe you'll be able to make peace with the situation in time. So in this reflection, I have not said anything about how much Incarnation means to me and has meant to me over the past 30 years. I wouldn't be standing here if it weren't at the bedrock of my spiritual life. And instead, I'm standing here to try to temporarily convert you to my friend's point of view that there's no problem in the world that can't be solved by throwing money at it. So let's throw some money at Incarnation. Let's think like my friend. Let's look at life through that lens, at least during stewardship season. Let's not lose this place. Let's save it with money. We've already got the other stuff, the essential stuff, everything we need to, make a cake. We have a fiercely loyal, hardworking congregation. We have lots of love to go around. And we have that magical je ne sais quoi that makes this parish unlike any other on earth. Now let's just add the frosting over the top. Cold, hard cash.
Amen.
May God bless Incarnation.